let's dive into this. A little while back, a clip just completely blew up online, and it sparked this massive debate. The claim that having kids with different partners could actually biologically change a woman's brain. It's a really provocative idea, right? It mixes science, spirituality, mental health, and it all kicked off with comedian Tiffany Haddish.
This right here, this is the quote at the very heart of it all. It's a bold statement for sure, and in this explainer, we're going to unpack it. We're going to figure out what's real, what's not, and maybe why this kind of idea in all its different forms has been so fascinating to people for literally centuries. So what was this theory exactly? Well, in the clip, Tiffany Haddish suggested there's a direct link between a woman having children with multiple men and her mental health. And she wasn't just talking about, life stress. She was suggesting it was something much deeper, a biological process.
Her theory really weaves together a few different claims. The main idea is that a baby's cells, which carry the father's DNA, stay inside the mother's body forever. So if she has kids with different partners, she gets these, quote, multiple DNA strings that supposedly create a biological war inside our mind. And she even takes it a step further, saying that unprotected sex does something similar, and that this genetic swap is why couples who've been together forever start to look like each other. It's a lot. So let's start untangling this web.
All right, this is where we put on our fact-checking hats. Her theory is interesting because it touches on a real scientific phenomenon, but then it kind of sprints off into the world of pseudoscience. So we're going to break it down claim by claim and see where the actual science takes us. Let's start with her foundational claim, the bedrock of the whole theory, that a baby's cells, and by extension the father's DNA, become a permanent part of the mother. Is there any truth to that at all? And the answer is, well, surprisingly, yeah. There is a very real kernel of truth here, and it has a really fascinating scientific name. So the phenomenon is called fetal microchimerism. During pregnancy, a very small number of fetal cells travel across the placenta and basically set up camp in the mother's body. We're talking her brain, her heart, her lungs, everywhere. And yes, they can stick around for decades. But, and this is a huge but, the amount is tiny. We're talking a few cells per million. And this happens in pretty much every single pregnancy. It's just a normal part of the process. Okay, so that brings us to the most controversial part of her theory. This idea that having cells from different fathers causes conflicting thoughts and leads to mental illness. And on this point, the science is incredibly clear. This claim is just plain false. Look, while scientists are definitely studying what these fetal cells do, there's absolutely zero evidence to back up the idea that they cause some kind of mental conflict because they came from different partners. Any mental health challenges a mom might be facing are much more likely to be connected to things we already understand, like stress, financial struggles, or not having enough support. The science just isn't there for this part of the theory. Now let's look at her next claim, which broadens the idea from just pregnancy to sex itself, that a man's DNA gets into the bloodstream and just hangs out for about 6 weeks. And again, this one is a pretty clear-cut case of misinformation. The verdict here is false. So here's the deal. Yes, male DNA can be detected in a woman's body after sex, but we're talking about a super short window, hours, maybe a few days at most. It doesn't get absorbed into her cells for the long term. The long-lasting male DNA that scientists find comes specifically from being pregnant with a boy. They're two totally separate biological events. Okay, so now that we've kind of separated the science from the fiction, let's get back to the real star of the show here, microchimerism. What do these lingering fetal cells actually do in the body? Because the reality is so much more complex and honestly way more fascinating than any conspiracy theory. So first, let's get a clear definition. Microchimerism is simply having a small number of cells from another genetically different person inside your body. The name actually comes from the chimera of Greek mythology. That creature made of parts from different animals. It's a pretty cool name, actually. And this is where the science gets truly mind-bending. These cells are like a biological double-edged sword. On one side, some research suggests they act like a tiny mobile repair crew, traveling to damaged tissues and helping them heal. There's even some evidence they might offer protection against diseases like Alzheimer's. But on the flip side, their presence has also been linked to certain autoimmune disorders, where the body's immune system gets confused and starts attacking its own tissues. It's a really complex and evolving field of research, but it is this powerful, tangible reminder of the deep, lifelong biological bond between a mother and her child.
What's so fascinating is that while the science is new, this underlying question about the lasting connection between partners is ancient. This idea of needing a clearing out period isn't just a modern pseudoscientific theory. You can find a conceptually similar, though very different, practice in Islamic tradition. It's known as iddah.